Hey guys, it's Arlone here. Quick before the video message, I think Rem wants you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and come check me out on Twitch at twitch.tv/Zeralorn. Link in the description and all that good stuff. I hope you guys enjoy the video and are having a great time in the new patch. Hey guys, Zeralorn here. A lot of good stuff happening in Deadlock. Big new major update. It's been like 150 something days since we've gotten a big update. Got 6 new characters, a new game mode, and we're going to take a look at all that today, look at all the cool new stuff that they've added. I played the new patch for a few hours last night, and I'm excited to show you guys all the cool stuff. So let's start with the patch notes. Obviously, the biggest piece is that we've got 6 new heroes. None of them are out yet. We're going to have to wait until Monday. We're doing the same voting thing as last time, unfortunately. But that is okay, as we do have a bunch of stuff to do. In the meantime, Street Brawl is out. I played a whole bunch of Street Brawl last night. It's a lot of fun. There's some really wacky items. A lot of cool stuff you can do. It doesn't take that long. I think my average game time is something like 10-15 minutes maybe. It's really quick, really easy to get into. I think it's good for new players. Also, it's good for players like me to play with friends who are worse at the game, because I will make games unfun for them to play. We have new themed patrons, which looks super good. Instead of just sort of the Amber and Sapphire patron, like the big robot heads, we have the Hidden King, which looks awesome. Big, like, wooden crown kind of looking guy with the burning effigy. There's a lot of like music and stuff styled going on, very like, I don't know, pagan looking maybe. It's super neat. The music for this side is awesome. And then the other side we have the Archmother, or the Archmother, I'm not really sure. Very like classic marble, big stone monument pillars, you know, sort of order looking versus kind of chaos looking, and both of them look awesome. Way cooler than the unstylized big robot heads. And then to go along with that, there are also creeps that match sort of the theming for each of those. So the Hidden King has the old styled sort of candle guys, and then the Archmother has these more like chess piece looking minions with keys. And then, of course, we've got our 6 new characters. The characters that so I think most of these were already people were aware of. I personally was not aware of Silver. I didn't know that this character was on the like list of characters that was coming out, so that's kind of exciting. A werewolf character who transforms into a werewolf. I'll be curious to see if that werewolf transformation is something that's like an ultimate, or if it's more like an ability like a Nidalee where you can go back and forth, and maybe there's a different set of abilities or something. That would be really cool. I have a feeling that Silver will be probably one of the first couple of characters that gets released, so I don't think we'll have to wait for too long. But we'll see. And then we've got Rem, the little like sleep goblin fluffy thing that people have known about for a while and were worried about, that I think attaches to characters, a la like a Yumi from League of Legends or something along those lines. They also added a whole bunch of little tiny spaces on the map for small characters that I think that they're going to be able to go in. So I don't know. I feel like this is I'm cautiously optimistic that this will be a good character and not just like super annoying, but we'll have to see. It's hard to say. I feel like a character like this would be like a balancing nightmare. Then we got Graves, a necromancer with a zombie hand. I don't really know much about what her abilities are, but tagged as morbid area denial, so I'm excited to see what kind of resurrection shenanigans Graves gets up to. I think the character design looks great for Graves. I think of the 6, Graves is probably the one that I'm the most interested in for trying out. But honestly, I don't know that it's like I could go anyway. We got Apollo. I think this was Fencer for a long time in the leaks. Um, Supposedly supposed to be very melee focused, maybe a true melee character. I don't know if that's the case or not. I know one of my teammates is very excited about this character, to the point that I owe them some votes. So I will have to make sure to stack up enough votes that I can pay him off in Apollo votes. And then the last two, we got Celeste and Venator. Venator has like been, I think, the most shown off ish, like the people are aware of. He is like, I think he was priest before. He has like a big crossbow ult. He's been in the game files for forever. So we'll have to see what the abilities are. The abilities that were in the game seem a little clunky because you could like console in as priest. The abilities that were there, like the ult felt really good, but some of the other abilities felt kind of clunky and meh. So I'll be curious to see how Venator ends up feeling when they come out. I think this is also probably one of the more popular options. If I had to guess, I would say that like Silver, I think Rem is also really popular. Venator, and then like probably Graves, Apollo, and Celeste are in like the bottom three maybe. We got Celeste. I think Celeste was sort of people were aware of. I have absolutely no idea what the abilities on this character are. It seems like kind of a supporty character. Tags are performer, disruptive, dazzling. So I would guess sort of like maybe like another doorman type character with a lot of CC maybe. Hard to say though. I really don't know much about the character. The lucky shots tattoo thing, pretty cool though. So if you weren't aware, I already kind of talked about this before, but we're doing a hero vote again, and 2 heroes are coming out each week on Mondays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. PST. That will be starting next Monday, so in 3 days from when I am recording. And you get more votes this time because the first one of the day, you get 4 additional votes, so you can stack a lot more votes more easily. I think last time I had like over 100 votes. That'll probably be much easier to do now because you get a vote for regular games and you also get a vote for Street Brawl. So if you want to just farm votes, you just go to Street Brawl and you run like a million Street Brawl games because they only take like 10 minutes. So if you're really trying to get votes in for heroes, go to Street Brawl. You can get a lot of votes doing that. You get new hero priority tokens. So when the first hero releases, playing games gets you priority tokens, and then you can use those tokens to get characters that you want more reliably. So you can have a little bit more sway on getting those new characters when you haven't played the new characters for a while. So you can earn a bunch of tokens and then use them to play characters that you want. And then we've got some in-game sprays, which honestly are, I mean, they're cool. They're cool. They're just little like sprays for voting for each of them. And I think mostly it feels like just showing off that the ability to put sprays is in the game, and that this will probably be an avenue for more cosmetics in the future if I had to guess. It's cool, but like kind of just a second little add-on thing. There's been like a bunch of UI changes. So they've revamped the post-game. I have sort of mixed feelings about how they revamped the post-game. It's a little bit harder to navigate now, and it looks much more stylized and interesting, which is cool. But I don't know. I feel like it was easier to like read the old post games, and now there's also like a new MVP and like key player and some other stuff for stats, which is fine, I guess. There was most of the external like stat websites and stuff were already saying who MVPs were, so that's not that crazy. And then we've got more UI improvements. So the top bar, for those who are unaware, most high-level players were using a mod to make it so that your top bar would show everybody's items, and then optionally you can have like a mid-boss timer and some other stuff. And they basically just added all that in the game. So now when I press tab in the game and look at everybody, I can see like their items, I can see where they put their skill points, I can see what their investments look like and all that good stuff. So it's much easier to see what's going on in the game at a glance, which is a great change. I think the chat bubbles are less funny. So that is the one downside, but generally a good change. We had a bunch more stylization added, so there's custom channel bars. You have your characters up here make different faces, like you can see here McGinnis is like looking all beat up when they're at critical health. Then also when you're doing really well, like Seven is all charged up because he's got fire. He's on a kill streak, and so characters that are doing really well look better, and if you're on critical health, you look a little worse. We've got some new damage numbers. Honestly, I feel like the new stylized damage numbers are cool, but one thing that I'm actually kind of missing out on here is previously, like, the damage was split up a little bit better, I feel like, and so it was easier to tell, like, when you were doing big chunks of spirit damage, but I don't know. I won't nitpick too much on that, I suppose. Steam game recording has been updated. I don't really use this, but I know some people do, so that's kind of nice. Probably will be easier for getting clips and stuff for the game, which is nice. This is the updated scoreboard I was talking about, so you can kind of see in this picture, and I'll show you later when we get into the game, but you can kind of see all of the items, their KD, you know, max health, what their reses are at a glance, where they put their allocated their points, so it's nice. Objective health bars, these are nice. They pop up when you're around the objectives, and they're stylized, they look good, and make it a little bit easier to see how much health stuff has. And they come up on your screen like when you're shooting Walker. Kind of like the old ones, but a little bit nicer looking. So yeah, there's a mid-boss timer over mid, which is great because a lot of people were just using an external mid-boss plugin, and that was hard to police because I don't think that they wanted to crack down on plugins, at least currently, and so this just gives it to everybody, so there's not really like a disparity there between people who have it and people who don't, which is great. Random hero button, this is awesome for Street Brawl. I think I've only played random in Street Brawl. It's a lot of fun. Just slam that random button, get a random hero for Street Brawl. I think this would also be a really interesting way to like format an account to play ranked, where you just random every game and see how high rank you can get or whatever. That would be fun too. Reju duration timer, this kind of goes back to the top bar plus. This was in a mod. Some people had access to it, some people didn't, and now everybody just has access to it. So we're evening the playing field a little bit there. Improves some visibility. There's like this hole punch view, so now when you're like behind objects weirdly, it doesn't cover your camera as much, which is nice. And neutrals near walls, so your jungle camps now glow through walls when you're in close proximity, which I think is not relevant to me. I almost would rather get rid of this because I know where all the camps are, but I know like one of the big complaints of one of my friends who started playing the game was like, I cannot find these camps for the life of me because there's so much verticality. Like, is this camp underground? Is it on top of a building? Is it on ground level? He kept getting lost, so this I'm sure would be nice for newer players, which we like. They reworked a bunch of the settings. It looks a lot nicer. There's a bunch of, you know, sub menus, and it's easier to navigate. The biggest thing, so the search is really nice, and then I think the biggest things are, so there's in-game FOV slider, which is nice, because previously if you wanted to mess with your FOV, you had to go into like into the config file, and like you'd have to like change the value manually, see how it looked, restart the game, like exit the game, change the FOV a little bit, see how it looked, and go back and forth until you found something you liked. But now you just have a slider in game, which is really nice. And then I think the biggest part of this is that you now have custom reticle control. The game's reticle options before were pretty bad. There wasn't really a lot of options. They're pretty limited. So you, like, I've been playing with like a purple outlined dot that sucks, but is better than what I would do otherwise for like since I've started the game basically. And now we can actually have like a little bit more control over the reticle. And it has a live preview, which makes it easier too. Bunch of new map updates. Every time they do like a sweep of these map updates for visual changes, they look awesome, they look great, and then the places that they didn't update end up looking outdated. So we'll see this when we get into the map, but some of these areas look great. and others now look quite old. So I wonder if those are next on the docket. So the last two things for new stuff is there's two new items. I've played around with these a little bit in Street Brawl. They seem interesting, but I don't know. I think Ballistic Enchantment might be really gross, and Recharging Rush has probably limited uses on certain characters. But Ballistic Enchantment imbues an ability with increased range. The range is 30%, which is quite a lot. And then dealing damage with that ability grants you increased weapon damage per target hit. And it's like 18% weapon damage per hero hit. So some early like stuff that people have been doing that I've seen some of my teammates is like putting it on Abram's Siphon Life. It makes Siphon Life like massive, and then you do like crazy gun damage when you're in the middle of a team fight on Abrams. I put it on Drifter's Rend, makes Rend huge, and you tag like two people with Ballistic Enchantment, and you get 36% weapon damage, which is pretty good. I think honestly, if you can consistently hit 3 people, this is probably great. And if you're hitting 2 people, it's probably okay. And if you're only hitting like 1 person with it, it's kind of eh. Recharging Rush is dealing significant weapon damage, replenishes the charge of each of your charged abilities. I think this is really good on like Holiday. There's maybe a few other characters that like this. I think the threshold for weapon damage is like 200. We can double check when we're in the game. I'll show you guys all the new stuff. But there's some other miscellaneous changes, improved trooper AI, which is good. Hopefully they stop getting stuck places. Got some new music. I talked about that a little bit with the Hidden King. The music is sick. Love it. Got some new voices for both the patrons. They couldn't just be the old ones, which I am going to miss a little bit, but probably for the best. I'll have to check out the build authoring improvements. I haven't really looked. There's some new settings, improved anti-cheat, improved replay compatibility, network prediction improvements, you know, trooper zipline movement, new item sounds, minor UI updates, rendering performance, lighting map compression, improved last hit death feedback, healing related sounds, like basically a whole bunch of what is bullet whizbee sound detection, but a whole bunch of like small, like, you know, stuff that we would expect to improve over time with a big update. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and open up the game, and then we will take a look at all this stuff in the game. There's a lot of cool stuff. We're going to run around in the underground and have a good time. So I will catch you in the game. Alright, so we are in the game. A lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff. Let's take a look. I'm gonna crank the. Let's go ahead. Let's crank the. Let's crank the render settings so the game looks a little bit nicer here. And let's start. Let's start with some new items. So they also went ahead and redid a bunch of art. So Scourge has some different art, Curse has some different art. I think there's a couple other things. Lucky Shot I know has different art. And then the 2 new items are both gun items. So we've got Ballistic Enchantment, which is 3200 item that imbues with that 30% range, and then 18% weapon damage per stack, which is good. And it has no limit on hero stacks, which I mean, it's, you know, I mean, soft cap by just 6 heroes, right? But that's a lot of weapon damage potential. And then Recharging Rush, which you have to do 200 damage in 3.5 seconds, so you have to do kind of a lot of damage. Space stats are pretty nice though with the max ammo and weapon damage. I do wonder, just cursory thought here, if I hopped onto Wraith and bought like rapid recharge and put 2 points into cards and just got rid of my cards. And then maybe bought like glass cannon so my gun did more damage and recharging rush. Will it just give me a chunk of card? It seems like no. It seems like that is not how that will work with this particular item. Okay, well that's less cool, because if it worked with rapid recharge, or if it worked with Wraith Card, then I could see maybe a use case that would be another use case that would be interesting, but it does not appear to work with Wraith Card. Okay, anyways, let's go to take a peek at the map. There's a whole lot of changes on the map. Let's see if Explore NYC is working. Okay, it is great. We are going to swap to Calico, because there's a whole bunch of stuff on the map that we can really only get to right now as Calico. But let's start in the Hidden King side here. So, I mean, the new base is like fantastic. We've got like these big speakers for our shrine that are pumping, and like the new patron looks sick. Got these carts here with veils in each of them. I mean, these are sick, right? Plenty of like little areas to hide. The new spawn is like way different. You got little areas on, like big areas on the sides over here. And I'm assuming that only, I'm not sure where the like safe area is, but I would assume it's like back here. I don't know if the safe area, how far the safe area expands out here. It might expand out here a little bit. And then we've got boost pads over here to take you across, so it's easier to navigate, because the area, like the bases seem a little bit bigger. The bathroom back here, you know, in case you need that. But the improvements on the bases are awesome. They look great. There's a bunch of improvements around the map as well. I'll try to highlight some of the biggest ones. This area is mostly unchanged. This amber right quadrant is mostly the same. I don't really think they did too much over here, except for on the actual this green lane over here. So we're at the walker back. I don't know if you remember, back over here there used to be a like all this back here used to be very closed off. Like it was kind of a continuation of over here, where it was just under and kind of bland, but now they've really opened it up. It looks more like kind of an alleyway. With like a little bridge under here, and this bridge goes to the back of the like right in between here where this jump pad is. And it looks much nicer. And then if we go up here, these were some like all this back here you like never really went into. Now it's kind of been stylized. Looks like kind of really sketchy apartments maybe. And then they've opened it up back here into the back of the church. The church looks great. They've got a little graveyard. And it looks much nicer, and this is, you know, that church camp, and the church looks awesome, and they've brought that graveyard all the way out, and so that whole area back there, they did a pass on, and then they also did a pass over here. This area is like a nice little library, instead of just kind of being a bland warehouse, and it looks great. I assume it's like a library, but very cool, lots of books. Good stuff. And then I think this is all mostly the same from there sort of in. I don't think they did much over here. Like most of the areas that they did recent passes on, like I think they did a fairly recent art pass over here, and so it all kind of looks the same. Taking a peek back here, I think they opened the, nope, this is all the same. Yeah, this is all kind of the same back here. Maybe a little bit of detail here and there, but more or less all the same. So let's go take a peek at the sewer area. So in the sewer area, you'll notice that there's these little tunnels all over the place. And we'll look at those in a second. But they updated this, the Sapphire sewer area. It looks more like a, sort of like a train station, I guess. It looks really good. I have mixed feelings about how the teleporter set up, but honestly, it still looks great. All this stuff down here looks awesome. And then we're gonna go ahead and move across, ignoring this guardian. I'm gonna turn on no death, so I don't die randomly. This quadrant of the map is still more or less the same. I think some of the underground areas might have been touched up a little bit. The nursery is kind of the same. See if this side got any changes over in this warehouse. No, this is, I mean, this warehouse, they refloored it, you know? They put a different floor on it, and that's about it. Looks a little nicer, I guess. They can't all be libraries. So we got some changes over here. This small camp looks better. They, I think, added some more detail over here on like the shop and stuff. This area I think is basically the same. And then we're gonna go ahead and, yeah, some of this stuff got like, so this area I think got like a little bit of like a touch-up pass. So some of this stuff looks nicer. This little gas station looks nicer. The interiors of these rooms are more updated. And like some of this internal areas look much nicer. So the centers area, the double centers area looks nicer. And a lot of stuff over here got touched up. And we're gonna go ahead and look at the sewer on this side. I think the sewer on this side is basically the same. Yeah, it's basically the same here. I think they may have like widened and touched up some of the stuff. They made this basement camp look cool with like a little culty kind of theme going on. And then let's see if we can't find some, there we go. So there's now this whole underground area that only small characters are allowed into, with cockroaches that give you souls, boxes. Let me turn cooldown and let's points in this. And like you can just get around all of the map. This is the new top of mid boss, by the way. The new top of mid boss looks great. Yeah, so there's like a bunch of these little like, I guess that's not, but a bunch of these little like tiny gaps that you can get into, and there's like this whole underground area for, at this point, just Calico. So I'm not sure what the plan is with this whole thing. Because right now, the only character in the game that can access this is Calico. And, you know, maybe at some point, Rem will be able to access it down here as well. But I don't know, then this seems like such a nightmare balance-wise. It's so cool though. Like, it is undeniably like very cool. And it's like kind of huge too. And it's like another sub-map that you have to figure out and learn if you play the characters that can make use of it. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings. I have mixed feelings about the underground area. Like, I think it is pretty cool conceptually, but in practice, I don't know if it's going to be super useful. I don't know that Calico needed more boxes to be able to hit. And yeah, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that. I think it's cool, but also, why? You know? Like, did we need that? I don't know. I don't know. So those are kind of the biggest map changes. I think that covers most of the map stuff. So what do we have that is left? We covered some of the items, map stuff. Oh yeah, so this is the top bar, so you can see where my points are invested. Okay. So besides the map stuff, we also have, of course, like we talked about and showed a little bit, there's the top bar, and there's the mid-boss timer over here that you can see. when mid-boss is not up, obviously. And there's a bunch more information here, which is nice, easy to have access to. And then I think that is most of the stuff. I can show you, let's take a look at what the end game screen looks like now. I played a bunch of Street Brawl and I lost a lot of Street Brawl last night. We can take a look at it. So this is sort of what the new end game screen looks like, where you would start on this like MVP screen, and then you got each of your teams sort of, each of the teams with like their stats or whatever, the full scoreboard, and then a different tab for graphs where you can look at all the stuff you looked up before. I think it's fine. I just don't like navigating it quite as much as I like the old system. And then also in the loading areas, there are the shadows of the new characters like that were last time. So there's Silver up there. There's Graves back there. Celeste is up here. Apollo is up here. Rem is hanging from there. What am I missing? Oh yeah, and then Venator is in here. So that's where all the shadows are if you were curious about that. Plus, also, as the little Easter egg, there is a little, like, in-the-wall area in the lobby. So, just kind of fun. We've covered all of the new changes, at least in a little bit of depth. There's obviously a lot more to all of the map changes, the new Street Brawl, and all that good stuff. There will be more videos to come. I'll probably have a Street Brawl video come up, hopefully, in the next couple of days. I played like a crazy long game of Street Brawl that I would love to show you guys, and I'll probably make a video out of that, so look forward to that. More content to come. I appreciate you guys watching. This has been the Zeralorn little patch teaser, where we take a little look at some of the new stuff for the patch. We will take a look at each of the new heroes as they come out. I would love to see you for that. Also, all of this is available on Twitch. I stream basically every day. I would love to see you there, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day and are enjoying the new patch, and I'll see you in the next one.